Good morning, everyone. Jessica here. And for today's video, I'm actually going to be talking about some topics that friends posted about on Facebook. So someone posted to my Facebook that they wanted me to talk about my experience with the Baclofen pump. And so that's going to be the focus for today. And this video might be a little longer because my history with the Baclofen pump is long, but it's a great topic for raising awareness about my cerebral palsy. So anyways, when I want to say I was about 7, my doctors, my neurologist, neurosurgeon, and a couple other doctors at Tier that were seeing me for therapy, they thought I would really benefit from a Baclofen pump. And what a Baclofen pump is, for those of you that don't know, is it is basically a medication pump. Kind of like for insulin, but what's different about Baclofen is that it is a drug that acts on your body's ability to complete movement signals. Because when you have cerebral palsy like me, those signals are interrupted. And so you move erratically because those signals are interrupted. And so this medication, which was new at the time that I was starting it was like brand new on the market. They were like, yeah, I think you'd be a good candidate. So we talked about it for a while. And finally, sorry, it wasn't when I was 7. It was when I was about 9. Yeah, 9. This is when I had that conversation. 8, 9 with the doctors. We discussed it and they thought I'd be a good candidate. So what happened was, initially, rather than just having the surgery to get the pump installed, they had a special trial for patients where you go in and you get an injection of the medication, and it's a surgical procedure, a minor surgical procedure, because they want to see how your body reacts to the medication. So it was, just something that they wanted to see, like, is Jessica going to be a good candidate for this? So my parents and we went in for this trial run of Baclofen, and it was amazing. Such great results. I was able to move so easily without my body fighting me. My motion was very fluid, meaning very easy to move. And my parents were able to walk me around with very minimal support, which is pretty unheard of for someone with my condition, because my muscles just fight at a constant rate and are constantly firing, that it makes it so difficult on a daily basis just to do daily living functioning. But I'm finding my way as I do it. So yeah, the trial was amazing. A few months later, I went back into Texas Children's Hospital when I was 10, and I had the pump installed. So I had the initial surgery, or that surgery to have the pump installed, and they adjusted the medication, and things were great for a number of years. They were so great. I was able to attend a special therapy that really helped me to move easier as a result of the medication. So life was great. And then after I started noticing a change about the medication, my family and I, when I would go in for refills. So about every 3 to 4 months, I would have to go into the Texas Institute of Rehab and Rehabilitation, or TIR for short, and a technician would insert a needle into where the pump was and refill the medication. And this happened every 3 to 4 months. And so when I would go in, the technician that was helping me, she would notice that there was some resistance when she would put in the medication, which was odd because usually when the medication was put in, there was no resistance. So for there to be any resistance was odd, and we weren't sure why that was happening. So fast forward a few months, that keeps happening, and it's like there's still resistance when the pump is being refilled. And over time, my parents, my mom and dad, and I'm going to include some personal interviews with them on my channel about topics just like this along the way. My parents noticed after several months of times of getting Baclofen pump refill and it just being weird that I was having altered mental status. So confusion, defiance, what else? Basically, I was just not myself. I had major altered mental status, kind of like how I am with encephalitis and encephalitis flare, but it was related to the Baclofen, and we just didn't know. So, and it was really difficult initially to just sort out what was going on, because when my mom would mention it to the doctors, they were like, oh, well, your daughter's just a preteen. She's just going through some stuff. It's hormones. You know, it'll pass. And it didn't. And it eventually, long story short, got so bad that we just had to get the pump removed. Because my mental status was not improving. The medication was not helping anymore. So we're like, you know, what are we doing? This isn't helpful. Let's just take me off of this. I think I might be allergic to it. So my doctors worked to down dose me, and I came off of it. And then for a time, they put just a saline solution in the pump because they were hopeful that, you know, maybe a few months away from the medication, I would be able to, you know, tolerate it again. And to test that out, they gave me oral pill Baclofen medication. But even when I would take that, I was still confused. Like I would be doing daily tasks and forget what I was doing, or go into a room and not know why I was in there. So it was things like that, you know, very subtle confusion things, but still not the best. So after all of that, and we were like, well, the medication, even the oral medication is not helping like we were hoping. Let's just take me off of this entirely. Let's add it to my list of allergic medications that I'm allergic to and can't take, and, you know, let's just take me off of this. And even to take it a step further, when I was a freshman in high school, so the 2008-2009 school year for me, I talked with my parents and we discussed it, and I was like, you know what, this medication, even though it was great for a time, it's not anymore. And this pump is just going through saline like nobody's business because it has a different rate than what the medication was. So let's just take me off of it. Let's just remove the pump. Let's just get it over and done with. So we did that. And over Thanksgiving of my freshman year of high school, I got that taken care of. Because I was like, once I'm out for break, I want to get this done, whether that's Thanksgiving, Christmas, spring break, or over the summer. It didn't matter to me, but in my mind, I was like, the sooner the better, because I just want to get this done and over with. So they explanted the pump, which just means they removed it surgically. And when they explanted it, my neurosurgeon who did the surgery, he said that the tubing that was part of the pump looked like string cheese when they removed it, which means that every time I was getting the medication, sometimes the holes would be covered up or they wouldn't, and so I would be receiving variable dosages of medication. And how those holes came to be occurred when I would get that resistance during pump refill. So it was very relieving to know that that was the root cause of the issues. And I mean, later on, after some research and time with other doctors, actually my most recent neurologist, we found out that part of the reason why I had such a bad reaction to the Baclofen was because I was also experiencing encephalitis, and we just didn't know. Because back when I was experiencing it, it was so new, and it's honestly still so new. Like, people just don't know enough about it yet. They're doing more and more research every day, but it's still got a long way to go before they really know what it is, what's causing it, all of that. So that was really interesting to know as well. And so because I was experiencing encephalitis and we didn't know, every time I was having the Baclofen medication, it was amplifying those symptoms. So, the jury's still out as to whether or not the medication would actually be beneficial to me. And there were a couple times over the years, especially in my adult years, where I briefly considered with my doctors about going back on it, but because my brain chemistry is just so sensitive because of my encephalitis history, I just didn't want to take the risk. So I will never again go on Baclofen medication to manage those symptoms. And what I do today to manage my spasticity when it goes through times where it's really bad, which only happens when I'm experiencing encephalitis or encephalitis flare, is I take prescription muscle relaxer medication. And that really just helps me. So it's a good way to manage it. I mean, it's not as good as Baclofen. Nothing will probably ever be as good as Baclofen. But it helps me in the way that I need, in the moment that I need it. So I'm very grateful for that, and I'm grateful that it works for me and that my body is able to metabolize it. So yeah, that's a brief history of my journey with a Baclofen pump. There is more to that story, and I will post more videos, but I just wanted to post this initial video about it. Thanks for tuning in. All right, bye guys.